who has been in some of my favorite TV shows and some of my favorite movies. And he's just such a presence to be around, and he's so much fun. And I'm so jealous that Devin is going to get to moderate this panel. So, ladies and gentlemen, big hand for Ron Perlman.
You'll note he puts a chair in between me and him because we've already had our stalker moment.
We don't get along.
No, it's fine. The restraining order said 5 feet, right? We're good on that. Great career, phenomenal work. We'll say you, sir, you. But I'm going to ask this question first because when people found out that I was moderating this Q&A panel, overwhelmingly, the one thing I had to hear from people over and over again.
Fucking build-up.
I'm telling you.
By the way, are there any kids in here? Because I won't say fuck anymore.
This panel contains partial language and adult language.
Where I hang out, we have a jar for anybody who curses. You put $1 in for the college fund of the child. We're going to give you 100 right now. That should cover me. Just talk amongst yourself. Yeah, that's for the kid. I'm sorry, you were saying?
I was.
Who's this?
Guillermo del Toro, your frequent collaborator, has been on record as saying he's open to the prospect. You are definitely open to the prospect. Can you give us any information on the next Hellboy movie?
If the government ever reopens, write your congressman, and I've gone on record as saying that I'm at this point single-handedly trying to keep the conversation going about Hellboy 3, simply because. And by the way, when Hellboy 2 ended, none of us, we all vowed never to go back because it was such a hard shoot, and just physically, it aged me like 10 years. But thank you. Can I get your phone number? Once the pain, subsides, and you just start thinking of things, in positive terms, which is generally what happens after, come through something like that. I just realized that we kind of owe the fans, the resolve, everything that's built up in the first 2 movies is set up for there to be this amazingly theatrical resolve. Is Hellboy going to be a victim of nurture or nature? His nature is to destroy the world, but he's been nurtured to execute good. And so I've been lobbying, and I really could use a hand. So all you people who tweet, Facebook, all that stuff, let's get this thing going.
Is there actually a
I always said that if I do a third Hellboy, it would probably kill me, but what a way to go, baby.
Well, it's obvious that you have a fondness for the character, and if you have not seen the photos from, and we were just talking about this backstage with one of our volunteers, in 2012, there was a young man who had a Make-A-Wish wish that he would be visited by Hellboy. And as long as it takes for you to put that makeup on and do that and get into that character, you spent the whole day with the young man, dressed up and hanging out with him as Hellboy. So it's obvious you've got a fondness for the character. So, is there something about Hellboy that speaks to you where some of your other characters, might not give you that voice?
No. I've been really, really, incredibly lucky, because there have been so many characters that are signature characters. That if you just do one of the characters that I did and would be known for that, you know, it's basically, you know, but there's been one after another, after another, after another, and probably Hellboy, you know, is the jewel in the crown. I'm going to start cursing again, kid. It's going to be great. I'm going to need therapy when I get done. And you know, I don't think I need to go into great detail as to why, you know, Hellboy is as an honor to play as he is, you know, who he is, how he's wired, what he stands for, how he's rendered by Guillermo and Mike Mignola. Any actor would kill to play a character like that. And so to be associated with that, I hate superheroes who like, you know, just never have a bad day. You know, they have this square jaw and they're 23 years old. I fucking hate them. You know, I like a guy who, you know, he's got stinky socks and cat litter all over the goddamn place. And pizza boxes, and, you know, he's about to burn down the house because cigars are just being left, you know, carelessly, hither and thither. You know, that's my idea of a superhero, so I got to play that character.
There's an interesting story when you were in college and your father, who was a jazz drummer, a performer in his own right, saw one of your productions and said, you have to pursue this. Do you still have to have a vivid memory of that conversation? What was going through your head as your dad is saying that it's okay for you to pursue this, I want you to pursue this? What's going through your head?
Well, I think I was too young to appreciate the magnitude of what was happening at that moment. But I was being given permission to, I'm the son of Depression parents, people who grew up in the Depression, and who all they wanted for their own kids was security. You know, go to college, get a degree, get some sort of a 9-to-5 job, and make sure that, you know, you're secure. So the idea of going into the arts was risky, and, you know, maybe a risk that people with that experience would have thought to be not worth taking. So to get permission from my dad, and you know, I was doing this production in college, and it was 4 nights. Thursday night was the first show, so I had my mom and dad and my brother and all my family come to this Thursday night show. And then on Friday night, it was just going to be my buddies and I were going to go out afterwards and get tanked and whatever. And I come out from backstage after the show's over and I've changed. And there's my dad all alone. I said, what are you doing here? And he goes, because he wasn't supposed to come. And he said, no, it's okay. I know you got company here, and you know, I just wanted to check something out. I go, are you sure you're okay? You're all right? He said, no, I'm heading home. Go out and have a good time. And the following day, I said, what was that all about? And he said, well, I saw something on Thursday night. I just wanted to make sure that it was like not an illusion. So I came back, and that was when he said, you should really think about doing this. And that was college. I mean, I was 20. I wasn't even 20 years old yet. So I'm a lucky dude. No, I wasn't. I was 18 because he was dead the next year. He died when I was 19.
Did you understand how big the part of Vincent is going to be in your professional career? Because up to then you had done some bit parts in stage, a few TV supporting roles. First off, talk about when you went in to read for Vincent. Did they tell you what the process was going to be to put you in that suit or in that makeup every single day when you were reading for the part to begin with?
Well, I had just finished doing a movie which required full transformation. You know, it was a 4-hour makeup job. It was the second movie that I had done where I required a 4-hour makeup job. So I kind of knew that whenever you're transforming somebody fully, it's 4 hours. That's, you know, all these special effects and makeup artists got together and decided, you know, what amount of time could we really piss somebody off? So they decided, well, you know, any more than 4 hours, we may lose the guy. But, you know. So I had just come off doing that movie, and I kind of knew if I was going to be playing the Beast, that, you know, what it would entail. Is that your question?
Sure. But when did you realize that that part had really hit home with audiences? Was it a TV guide cover? Was it an interview? Was it an exposure to a fan? When did you realize that it actually was hitting home with viewers in, you know, Middle America?
Well, it was so exotic a show that I never imagined it would go beyond the pilot, and so I said yes to. I didn't say yes, you know. I begged, and they said yes. It's more how it went. It's kind of like my wedding night, but anyway. There's another Q&A for that at 10:30. I'm not having it here, by the way. What was the question? So, but I figured we'd do one episode, and this was way too exotic for television, especially. This was pre-cable, so this was network television. So network television is not known to take a lot of chances. You're either doing a doctor show or a cop show or a show about teachers, and that's about it. You don't do shows about a beast that lives under the streets of New York, you know, who has this gothic romance. And when the show got picked up, I went, that's curious. Maybe more than just me likes this. But then the fan mail started coming, and I'd never received fan mail of any kind. So, you know, the idea of just getting fan mail to begin with was rather exotic and refreshing. But it was really personal stuff. You know, it's really people talking about the effect that this character, this outcast character, was having on giving them the strength to get through their day and stuff. So I realized it was having, and it wasn't just one letter or two letters, it was hundreds and hundreds of letters like this. And then there were some letters where, you know, people would start having fantasies about spending evenings with the Beast. or afternoons. Whatever happens to float your boat. That's when I knew that's when I knew. That was what did it, yeah.
Compare some of the fan mail you got for Beauty and the Beast with some of the fan mail you get for Sons of Anarchy.
I'm going to make a confession here, and please don't hate me any more than you already do. But after Beauty and the Beast, I stopped reading the fan mail.
Was there one particular piece that said, I can't do this anymore, or was that just the whole experience?
I just realized that for some people I could never be who they thought I was. And so I abandoned the idea of needing to know what anybody thought of what I was doing. It's just important what I thought.
Do you think that you're... We do have two mics over on each side of the aisles, and I do want to get to your questions as well. So go ahead and get queued up. We'll go back and forth on this. I did want to ask about the first time that you met Guillermo del Toro. And it was an amazing friendship you guys have crafted over the years. But talk about the first time you guys were in a room together.
Well, he had written me this letter was this letter that I've saved it. It was one of the greatest things that I ever saw in print. Because I always thought that I was basically just going on and doing all these things and nobody was really noticing. But this letter was like a chronicle of each of the performances and what they meant to him, one by one by one by one by one. And then it culminated in saying, I'm going to make a movie. It's going to be the first movie I've ever made. And I'm inviting you to participate in it. And I'm a tiny little nobody from Mexico, and we have a tiny little bit of money, but I would really be honored if you read it. I read the script. I was already in love with the guy from the letter, but I read the script, and the script was like, what would a vampire movie look like if it had Cary Grant in it? It was like the most elegant, brilliant look at horror in all of its gothic, most amazingly mind-blowing literary form that you could possibly describe. And this was a movie that would clearly never get made in Hollywood. And so I agreed to do it. A couple of weeks later, Guillermo came to LA, and we had dinner at the Taste of India. It's a restaurant on Wilshire Boulevard. We sat down and he said to me, I'd like to start with the dessert. Because for me it's the best part of the meal. And I said, I think we're going to be friends. So that's what did it.
We'll start over here.
Hello? Oh, there he goes. Mr. Perlman, my name's Joe. Big time fan. I'm running through like 1,000 questions in my head at once. Can't believe I'm talking to Hellboy for one. My big thing was, I was thinking about, as you guys were just talking about Guillermo right now too as well, because I know how particular he can be about everything in his films. And I was just wondering if you could share with us maybe like how hard it was to live up to the expectation of what he wanted for that character as you were portraying it.
For Hellboy?
Yeah, for Hellboy.
Maybe the easiest character I've ever played in my life. Aside from, the outer trappings of it, how long it took to finally get on set. It's 4.5, 5, 6 hours just to be ready to go. And my problem was I was so excited to get to the set. But Hellboy in the comic book was, he spoke in like one-word sentences. So he was monosyllabic. And he was the anti-personality. Like he had this economy of movement and communication that made him, were his defining principles. For the movie, Guillermo had to turn him into a three-dimensional character, had real blood flowing through his veins and had a personality. And he basically, it was as if I wrote it. I mean, he made Hellboy talk how I talk. He made Hellboy, be as irreverent as I am, as underachieving as I am, as self-indulgent as I am. He even gave Hellboy the same taste in Tom Waits music and Marx Brothers movies. So he really wrote this fucking love letter for me to play. And, the question that's most asked me is like, how much of that movie did you make up? I didn't improvise one line in either movie. They were all written by Guillermo for me to say. And it was, I don't remember what you asked me. That's my answer.
I'm just lost in your eyes right now.
I'm going to take these lights with me.
Thank you.
Let's go over here.
Hello. Hello.
Hi. Hi, how are you?
Thank you.
Mr. Perlman, first off, I agree with you. A lot of superheroes these days, they don't have it. I just don't feel as much as the anti-heroes like Punisher, Spawn, and Hellboy. That they yield a compelling character and story. And second off, if they they do a Pacific Rim too. Would you want your character to pile a Jaeger?
That's for younger guys.
One last thing. Do you think Hannibal Chow will ever find his goddamn shoe?
Yeah, because it's Guillermo del Toro's house. He knows exactly where to go.
Awesome.
Thanks, man. Back over here.
Mr. Perlman, in regards to your cursing, my daughter walks around going, oh, crap. She's like, I'm just recording Hellboy.
I'm really glad I have a
So-
effect on your kid. Wait until after today.
So can I have your address so I can send you the bill for that?
Yes.
But in Sons of Anarchy, my husband, who's just up here, watches the show religiously, and you make me sick. Like, you hurt my stomach to the point where I'm like, I can't watch this, you gotta put it on mute. Like, where do you go as a person to portray these like evil things that he does and when he, to act them out convincingly?
North Hollywood. All you gotta do is just cross the border into North Hollywood. Yes, try to claim tomorrow.
Thank you.
Right back over here.
Alright, first off, I want to say this. Mr. Perlman, you're a huge inspiration on me wanting to become an actor. So I want to thank you for that. And second, if they ever did a live-action Teen Titans movie, would you be signed on to play Slade? Would you want to be?
It's a tough one, man. It depends. It depends on the same thing it always depends on. You know, how good is the script and how great is the character, and whether I feel like, you know, he's somebody that I'm dying to play.
Oh, Guillermo made it, you might.
Huh?
Oh, Guillermo made it.
Well, then it's a total yes. It doesn't even fucking matter about this. There's certain guys, like, you know, sure, why not? But there's also a guarantee with Guillermo that it's going to be well worth doing.
Thanks, Mr. Perlman.
Right back over here.
Hey, I was the one that talked to you about alien resurrection. No one ever brings it up. On behalf of being a 6'1" female, just say it one time for me. I can't lay off the tall ones.
I can't lay off the tall ones. That was, you know, not to call attention to myself, but you know, here I am. But that was my line. I took a look at Sigourney Weaver. It was going to be the first scene we played together, and that was the first thing I could think of. Can't lay off the tall ones. Once they translated what I had said to Jean-Pierre Jeunet, who was directing the film, he goes, "Oh yes, keep that."
Remind us how many takes it took for Sigourney to sink that no-look shot before she actually finally did it.
One take.
One take? With how many tries?
No, one first try, first take.
First try, first take.
Yeah.
That's insanity.
And I almost ruined it. Because I'm in the shot. I'm in the background as she's walking away, and she bounces, she dribbles twice, and then does this from like 25 feet. And here's Sigourney, here's the hoop, here's me. And you see the whole ball go through the air, and then you see it go through nothing but net, and you see me in the background go. And they spent like 20 minutes watching the shot over and over again to see if I hadn't fucked it up. If they could cut away soon enough for the audience to not see me go. It would have been horrible. Because Sigourney never makes that shot again. I mean, we could have been there for like 8 months.